Spider-Man's got sand in his shoes. Here's your look at the LEGO Spider-Man Set 76172, Spider-Man and Sandman Showdown. A relatively small and simple build, the Spider-Man and Sandman Showdown contains only 45 pieces and also contains 2 minifigures. But of course, before we get things building, I've already actually taken the time and built this. I wanted to show you what the box looked like. On the front, you can certainly see there's Spider-Man battling Sandman, who apparently has a catapult. Now, did he design that from sand, or is that somehow both metal and sand coming together? Of course, there's the warning choking hazards recommended for ages 4 and up. I found this over on Toys R Us. I actually picked this up on Toys R Us's website. Spin around to the back so you can certainly see as well. There's the 2 minifigures. Also comes with apparently a web net and the Spider-Man Dune Buggy. You can check out more from LEGO by heading over to www.lego.com/Marvel Superheroes. And like I said, it's a pretty easy build. I've already taken time and built it. So there's the packaging. Let's get a closer look at the set. Now, of course, to hold your hand every step of the way, the folks over at LEGO include an instruction guide, a simple step-by-step, a very simple step-by-step. It's only actually 23 pages of steps to go through, but it shows you how to build from start to finish. And quickly, just to flip through the pages to show you here, the steps are super simple. 23 pages, and contained in those 23 pages are again all the necessary steps involved to put together the Spider-Man and Sandman Showdown. The last 2 pages are simply just to show you how to fire off the catapult, and then the last thing is just to check off, I did that, I did that, I did that. Open up your window, I did it! You can yell then to the neighborhood. Oh, it's the kid again. He must have just finished a new LEGO set. The last page gives you just an advertisement of other sets that are available. Just an FYI, though, I did actually pick this one up as well. Usually the thing that ropes me in on the new LEGO sets are not necessarily the vehicles, but the minifigures. I know I'm spending a lot more just to get the minifigures, but the fact that there was a Mysterio minifigure, I couldn't pass the chance on picking that one up. So a review of it will be coming shortly. Just one little added 411 that I didn't even know about. That shows how far behind I am when it comes to picking up LEGO sets, is that they've actually included a QR code. So instead of actually having to go through the fuss and muss of flipping through 23 pages, you can instead scan the QR code, open it up on a virtual app on your phone, and follow the instructions that way. I wonder if the instructions are actually moving, where it actually shows you, okay, this piece goes to this piece. You can see by the way I'm describing it right now, I haven't yet tried the app. Maybe what I'll do is I'll try it right after this review. So you do get yourself the instruction sheet. Of course, like I said, the thing that draws me into these sets are generally the minifigures. And then after the fact, it's like, all right, Spider-Man's got a dune buggy. That's kind of cool. Having a look, though, at the minifigures that come included with the set, the first thing that we're going to look at is Spider-Man. Pretty OG-looking Spider-Man in design for obvious reasons. He doesn't have printing on the back with a different expression on the back of his head because that just wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. He does have the printing there done on the front and the back of his torso. We're looking at the back right now, but I can spin around to the front so you can see it. And he does also have the webbing on his arms as well. A little bit on the darker side on his arms, but at least I'll take in the fact he does have the printing there on both sides. I know what I'm about to do right now is so redundant because everybody knows by now the articulation on a minifigure, but just in case you're new to this, head swivels, you can swivel the arms back and forth. They're always going to really be hitting the tops of their heads because you can't rotate them all the way around. They do have the articulation in the hands. And you do also have the leg swivels back and forth, which they can also sit inside their vehicle, which I will for Spider-Man show you in a second. While I already have several Spider-Mans under my web wing, the one figure I really didn't have, especially looking like this, was this particular Sandman. Kind of clever the way that the LEGO designed this particular minifigure. Now, he doesn't have a lower half for him. In other words, if you remove the figure, there isn't actually a lower part of legs that you can add on to the figure. Now, Sandman's lower half, I think, was brown, if correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, certainly. But I think I could easily find just a pair of lower brown legs if I wanted to. The whole sell in this set was the fact that there was actually this constructed funnel of sand. Of course, just plugs onto the bottom of his torso. Like that. And you got yourself a nice little showpiece to display Sandman. I do like the fact that this is a darker color here on the background here, and then you've got all these kind of rocks and pebbles that are funneling their way up to his body. He also has sand on one side of his torso and a full sand arm on this side. You can also see it there on the back of the figure as well. Now this figure sadly doesn't have any printing on the back of his head. I would have assumed that he would have, considering the fact that his hair conceals it. It's not what I would consider Sandman hair, but still it's a nice looking Sandman figure. I do think the reason why I picked up this set, first of all, it wasn't that expensive at all, but more so to get the Sandman here. So those are your minifigures. We're going to put those to the side. Then, of course, we can have a look at the build. Actually, let's just rewind that for a second. One other thing that comes included with more so Spider-Man is he comes with this web. Now, there's a couple of different things you can do with the web. You can attach the figure to the top of it. And I guess if you wanted to have him suspended by something, I'm not really sure what exactly it would be, you could do that. Or you can also have him holding it. And this would be good, I guess, if Spider-Man wanted to hang out his clothes to dry. Of course, Peter Parker still has to do his laundry. It's one of his responsibilities. He could sort of just set up a web-line clothesline and just kind of stick his socks and other things to it. I mean, certainly as it serves right now, it looks a little strange, him holding it like this. I guess it more so is if Sandman is running by, which would be rather difficult in his present state. He would be stuck against this. I guess that's the whole intended plan of it. So that's the other accessory that comes included. It's more so for Spider-Man. Let's straighten out the figure. We'll put him over here. We'll put the web over here. And of course, let's have a look at the build. Generally, with these smaller basic builds, you have a vehicle, and then you have something that's small that goes along with it, and that being the catapult. That's for obvious reasons. I don't want to necessarily just keep describing this as a dune buggy. I guess it could be like an ATV four-wheeler as well. It's simple build, so simple in fact, actually, that the bottom of it is two halves of the vehicle put together. Even the steps, going back to instruction guide, if you look to, I think it's the second or third page, back one page, you can see right there, it's basically just two halves of a molded, pre-molded piece that gets put together. Now, they could have elaborated this a little bit by having the middle piece, and then the tops would be things you would have to add. But again, being that this is a basic set with a limited quantity of pieces, they generally usually get molded, pre-molded pieces, especially when it comes to bikes and stuff like that. Looking at the detailing, though, on the fore, I'm going to just call it an ATV. It's a Spidey ATV. I would probably come up with a more clever name. You'd have to leave that with me for a second, though. It's got some really nice classic Spider-Man colors going for it. The majority of the body is all red. And of course, you've got some nice blue pieces added onto the sides, the back area there. The section also where the thruster sticks out and that extra little bit of flame that you can add in there as well. Has some nice free rolling tires. And it doesn't necessarily have stickers. I think this was already printed onto the piece when I already got it. So I don't think there was anything I really had to apply sticker-wise to this. But with a basic set, that's usually what you're going to be getting. Let's go ahead and take Spider-Man, sit him down for a second, and put him inside. This would look rather silly if it was a character like the Flash. We always have that ongoing joke that Flash really shouldn't have a vehicle he drives around in because Flash would go faster than this. But yeah, for Spider-Man, it makes some practical sense that Spidey from time to time gets tired from swinging from rooftop to rooftop or building to building. And eventually he just likes to drive around the town. I mean, there's no hiding exactly what vehicle this is. Everybody knows this is Spider-Man's vehicle, short of it actually has a license plate, which it doesn't. But the Spider-Man license plate could have easily just said Spidey's Ride. Would that be able to fit all the characters? Probably would take a couple more characters than that. It does have, of course, a little turning steering wheel on the inside. These Lego minifigures never have the capable means of actually being able to hold on to their steering wheel. They always come up just a little bit short. Oh, Spidey. But overall, like a nice little ATV vehicle. Like I said, it rolls really nice. We'll just put that to the side. The other thing that comes included, of course, the Showdown here is a catapult. The catapult does have a working piece to it. This is, of course, a separate piece of Lego. Then I added just a few other pieces on top of it. Again, super simple. And then you've got a couple of these little barrels colored the same sand color as Sandman. This is supposed to fit inside like here. You're supposed to flip this like here. And this is supposed to shoot across the room. And then you're supposed to cry afterwards that you can't find the pieces. I'm going to just very carefully flip one of them so you can see how it works. And if you do lose one of them, don't worry. You don't have to cry too much at least. You get a second one of these, sort of as a backup shot. The other one, providing you're able to find it at least, it can actually fit just to the front of there. So he's got an extra round. And then, of course, you can take your Sandman figure, line him up to the display base, like so. Get the pieces lined up, of course, appropriately. Always seems to be the case when it comes to pieces like this. I know how Lego comes together, and yet I always seem to struggle lining up. We're just going to rest them on top like this. You can have little Sandman standing next to his catapult. Like I said, with a set like this, it's pretty super simple. You get yourself, like I said, a main small-sized vehicle. And then, of course, you get two minifigures. In this case, you got Spider-Man, you got the Sandman. Even though I do like the look of the ATV, in honest truth, the real reason why I got this set, and probably would have been a little bit crazy that I would have spent then the money to get this set, was all really centered around the Sandman. The Sandman who I'm having apparently some real tough time attaching to the display base. Again, one last look at the Sandman right here. And I got on the back. Definitely my favorite, and the real reason why I got this set in the first place. Again, bringing in the box so you guys can see it there for product placement. Of course, wrapping up the rest of this review. Have you picked up this set for yourself? Set being, of course, 76172, the Spider-Man and Sandman Showdown. Let me know down below in the comments section. Because, again, it's only 45 pieces. It's pretty easy on the budget. You don't have to worry about spending too much, shelling over the cost that sometimes these Lego sets go for. You'll see in an upcoming review, mind you, some of the sets get a little bit more expensive and a little bit more elaborate. But this is kind of a nice little simple entryway if you want to get yourself a Sandman figure and you want to get yourself a Spider-Man minifigure. And, of course, you got the little ATV ride to go along for the ride. If you guys are new to this channel, enjoying all the content you're seeing, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and turn the bell notification on. And yes, make sure that you're coming back to this channel regularly, because we will also be looking at some more Lego builds. Something that we haven't done nearly enough in previous reviews, but I want to start bringing in some more Lego stuff because I'm a big fan of Lego. It gets a little expensive and there's a little bit more time involved, of course, consuming your time to try to actually get these sets put together. But the end result is fun little Lego pieces and especially cool looking Lego minifigures. There's definitely stuff more coming your way, guys. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.